live, you are live.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to this glorious winter's Saturday afternoon here in the northeast corner of the world's most magnificent country, South Africa. We have our problems, but we have far more going for us than we do against us. And there we have 3 vultures. Now, those vultures are looking down at a carcass with hungry eyes, the carcass of a young buffalo murdered in its infancy by some lions yesterday evening. Hello, my name is James Henry. On camera today is David. Hello, David.
Hello, David.
David has been a little bit under the weather today, but we've dosed him up with a whole lot of... oh, sorry, yes, I've been reading up about birds. David has been dosed up with a whole lot of medication. Do you feel okay, David?
Great.
Wonderful. On the other vehicle, the buffalo-like figure of Byron Sorrell, and he's being filmed by the increasingly hairy figure of Willem Doornbach. He's now resembling a sort of hobbit at the moment. He's been fixing his car all day and is very happy to be out in the wilderness with us today. Louise is in the final control in my ear and twiddling the knobs. We've got Chelsea from Vermont with us. Now, you're on a live safari, in case you're wondering what Saturday afternoon is bringing you today. Yes, live safari, that's what I said, from the middle of the iconic Kruger National Park, and that means you must talk to us. Please talk to us. Hashtag Safari Live, or questions at WildEarthTV. There go the birds. See the vulture going out there? I don't think it's going to land. Now, I don't know if the lions are still there. We've just come into this area. Let's go and have a quick look-see if the lions are there. Those vultures won't go onto the ground with the lions there, but they're also very nervy around us. So let's go and see. Welcome to it. The lions were just over here this morning. And I've got no idea if they're still here. I imagine they would be. They were very full of beefalo. I think there might be some beefalo left. And I also would like your help in identifying them. We think they were Nkuhuma lionesses. We are not 100% sure, I don't think, because the Nkuhuma pride has basically exploded into 100 different pieces because they are all giving birth, seemingly. Right, well, they were in here earlier this morning. Now, what you can often do is drive into this area, into an area like this, and suddenly find that you're almost parked on top of a corpulent lion. Just do a little bit of a drive off road here. I'll be absolutely astounded if there isn't a lion lying here in the shade somewhere. They may have gone down to the water. Davey, you haven't seen one, have you?
Not yet, no.
All right, well, while we look around here, everybody, let's go across to Byron and find out what he's doing. I think he's on his way to Cheetah Plains.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Safari Live. My name is Byron, and with me on camera this afternoon, we've got Willem. Hi, Willem. Great to have you all with us again on this beautiful South African winter's afternoon. James is correct. I'm heading off exploring down to Cheetah Plains. I've not been, so getting to see a new area.
Sorry about that, everybody. I'm not sure why the signal's gone. It must be Byron. You know, he's such a beefy fellow. He's obviously putting the signal off. I don't know what's going on here. I'm astounded that these lions aren't here. There was one lying right there when we came back from drive today, and now it has moved. So what we'll do is just have a little squiz around here, and if we don't find one lying in the shade almost immediately, we will go off to the Treehouse Dam and see if they aren't lying there. But I can't imagine they've been gallivanting too far from here, given the size of the belly on the lioness I saw this morning. Yeah, well, it's 22 degrees Celsius, 75 degrees Fahrenheit, which is not as hot as it might be. It certainly has been hotter. I thought I saw a lion, but I didn't. It has been hotter, And it was very, very chilly this morning, I must say. But it's such a glorious day. Okay, we're going to go down to the water, and then we'll come back and knock around in the bush here. But I'm pretty sure... Well, I mean, they wouldn't have gone far, I don't think. So I find this very strange. But let's have one more look inside here, just quickly. I just think it's too odd that they've gone too far. And I see no remains of the carcass. But they were feeding right here. Let's scan under the bushes. Let's go a little bit forward. A lot of fresh elephant tracks around. I wonder if some elephants didn't come past here and perhaps give them what for and send them scuttling off into the bushes. No, I see nothing in the way of lions. This is the first time in the history of lions that they've actually moved during the middle of the day. Well, at least it adds to the mystery of things. Now we're definitely going to go off down to the water. I'm absolutely astounded. Hello, Becca Dorset. You're a new viewer. Wonderful to have you with us. Thank you for joining us, A, and B, thank you for asking a question. You want to know what we are doing? Well, Becca, we're on a live safari in the middle of the Kruger National Park. That's the sort of macro scale of what we're doing. What I'm doing right now is looking for lions that were here this morning. They were eating a little buffalo. The buffalo seems to have been devoured in its entirety. And there were some vultures here, obviously looking for some scraps that are no longer. And so now we're going to go down to a waterhole, Becca, and see if we can see the lions from there. No idea where they've gone. There are a few tracks in here, but these are old tracks from another sighting. So, Becca, this is what we do twice a day, every day. We go on a safari through here. We broadcast it live over the interweb to, well, wherever you are in the world. And we have viewers from Finland and Australia and New Zealand and India, and many in the United States, a couple in the United Kingdom. We've had one from Hungary, we've had one from Tanzania, we've had one from Brazil, or a few from Brazil. So that's what we do, basically, and we'd love to hear from you. And keep asking us questions about Africa, South Africa, the Kruger, safaris, and any of the creatures we might be seeing. Hashtag Safari Live, obviously you know that because you sent through a question. And Costa Rica, we've also apparently had a few viewers. Canada, obviously. Throughout the English-speaking world and some parts of the non-English-speaking world. Alrighty. I see no tracks, and there is quite a nice game path, which is a path that the animals might make from constant use, and it does head from where we were down towards a waterhole over here called Treehouse Dam. Let's go and see if they're down there. Oops, bit bouncy. So the Nkuhuma pride at the moment, everyone, is the 5 lionesses. At least 2 of them are off with babies. One of them we think is possibly also doing the same, leaving just these 2 on their own. And whether they're pregnant or not, or have been mating, I'm not sure. But the pride will no doubt reconstitute itself once the cubs are about 6 weeks old. Then the pride will normally be introduced to the little cubs, and they'll all start to move as a unit again. But while they're all giving birth, they are going to be split up like this, and I'm amazed that those 2 lionesses managed to take a buffalo out of a herd. That's quite impressive for 2 lionesses to have achieved. Because normally they'd be chased off. So few lions would be chased off by very big buffaloes. Now, Auntie Lynn, you want to know where the buff carcass could be? I don't know, because I didn't see it. And from the fatness of the lion that I saw, I would have said that they probably finished it, or most of it. But it was right there. I mean, they were feeding right where we were parked. So I don't know where it is or what's happened to, you know, the remainder of it, the head, a couple of small bones. Maybe it was a really, really small calf and they devoured the whole thing. That's not impossible. If it was a newborn, they would have eaten everything. They would have eaten all the bones and everything. Maybe leaving one or two little pieces of vertebra around. But what is marvellous about this, of course, is that we don't know what's going to happen. We will probably have to track them. That could take all day. It could take another couple of minutes. Let's see. That's the joy of being out here, of course. On this proper winter's day. And of course, to most of you, calling what I'm calling winter now, winter is ridiculous. Many of you have got far worse winters than this. So this is quite interesting. Michelle in Sweden, you were at the lion sighting this morning and you say there were definitely 2 Nkuhuma lionesses. One of them with a spotty nose is the lactating mother from the Torchwood area. So that really is very interesting. Thank you for that. Here we are at the waterhole where there is not much water nor are there any lions seemingly. While we look around here, Byron seems to have retrieved his signal. Let's go back across to him and find out what he's going to do this afternoon.
That's right, James. Thank you. I did get some signal back, and we are on Cheetah Plains at the moment. It's a very interesting story and situation that James has got going on there with those lionesses that have disappeared. I'm not too sure what could have happened. We did hear hyena this morning in the area while we were sitting with them. So I wonder if they weren't chased off and maybe the hyena took the carcass and ran away. It's interesting that the vultures were sitting there though, because it was a very small carcass and usually they prefer something bigger where they are guaranteed some scraps. So I'm not too sure what happened there. I'm sure James will work it out shortly. So Viam and I are really just exploring this afternoon, having a look at this different terrain. As I said, I haven't been down here yet or before at all. So it's a new area for me and it's always great. You never know what you're going to see or what the terrain holds. So if I get lost, then who knows? I'm sure we'll find our way back though. Oh, elephant up ahead. Just caught a glimpse of one. Let's have a look. So Philo has asked, is this really live? Yes, you are 100% live from the middle of South Africa, or the northeastern part of South Africa rather. Let's just have a look quickly. Here's the elephant. Oh, there we go. Looks like a young bull. Can you see it? I see another one off to the left, just moving through the thicket. It might be a bit tricky for Viam to get. It's moving off there. But yes, Philo, we are completely live. What we are seeing, you are seeing immediately. There's no breaks, there's no cuts, which is just incredible. We are very fortunate to be able to showcase Africa at its best and at its wildest to all of you around the world. The elephants seem to be moving through this thicket a little bit. Let's just see if I can get you another view quickly. Look like 2 younger bulls that are moving around together. Let me see. Hang on. This is quite thick here, hang on. There you can just see him moving through this this dense combretum thicket. But beautiful colors in the bush at the moment. Look at all these yellows and greens and oranges. I mean, I've mentioned it a few drives now, but it really just is such beautiful scenery. And these dry leaves, you can actually hear the elephant moving through the bush as they are walking past. Can't see them, but I can hear them very clearly. Just as they're scraping against the trees, those dry leaves make a beautiful sound against their hide. That was a nice surprise. There you can have a look. Look how dry those leaves are at the moment. We have had a very dry year so far, but there is still a bit of food around for these animals. And animals like elephant know exactly where to find all the good food. And there is still some water, so no drought as of yet. Anyway, let us continue. But what a great little surprise. As I was saying, you never know what you're going to bump into. And we bump straight into an elephant, or two elephant rather. I see a few more tracks. There's possibly a herd that moved through earlier. Occasionally you can get these younger bulls following herds like that. It's only really the dominant bulls, the big dominant bulls, that will try and mate with females. So while we are heading out further into Cheetah Plains and looking for some clearings, why don't you go and see what James has got, or if he's got an update about those lions.
James unfortunately does not have an update, everybody. I had no idea where those lions went. I may have to go off and have a look on foot. But interestingly, that report all the way from Sweden, that was one of the mothers, is interesting because maybe she's gone back towards Torchwood. I would have expected to see one of her tracks though by now if she'd done that. So she might be going. Torchwood, everybody, is a property to the east of us where we are not allowed to go, but the animals are obviously free to come and go as they please. I'm just going to keep an eye on the road to see if there are any tracks. So if I don't look at you when I'm talking to you, I'm not being rude, I promise. David, there's a very nice shot of a forked-tailed drongo which has just avoided us. There it is. Oh, I forgot we don't have the super zoom. That's it there. Very nice. And you will notice the absolute peace of this afternoon. It really is quite fantastic. Just looking for little insects lurking about the ground or flying past. They do hawk insects, and that's why they've got that forked tail. It's very effective. It helps them to stop suddenly in the air, twist round, turn, and then land again. Very aggressive little fellows are the fork-tailed drongos. There it goes. All right. Oops. Didn't see that hole. All right, so let's watch the ground and just see if there aren't any lion tracks coming down this way. There certainly weren't any going down towards the waterhole like I expected there to be. So the kill was just over there in the block there. So if they went down to the water, they should have crossed this road at some stage. Otherwise they may have just gone further into the bush to rest. And they could have been very close by, you know, to where we saw them. Now, Tasha, you have fallen victim to one of the great misconceptions of the African wilderness and lions. You say that I mentioned that there were 2 lionesses in this pride this morning and no male, and you thought there was always a male with them to protect them. Now, one of the misconceptions, not helped at all by the magnificent film, great story, terrible biology, that was The Lion King, is that a male lion is part of the pride. He is not part of the pride at all, Tasha. The male lion is a extraneous part of the pride. So the pride is the female, normally related, and their youngsters. The male can normally a coalition of males. So unlike the Lion King, it would be Scar and Mufasa. They would be mates together normally, and they'd take over territory together and dominate that territory. And within their territory, Tasha, there would be 1 or 2 or maybe even 3 pride territories. There's a lion track, but that's from last night. So, Tasha, the males are not part of the pride. They protect the pride's territories as a whole from marauding males, and that helps the cubs not to be killed by new males coming into the area, but they're not part of the pride. So, and in fact, for the females, they'd almost rather not have the males with them, because a male lion out here, quite apart from being the noble beast portrayed in The Lion King, is actually the greatest scavenger out here. He will steal far more food than he ever actually eats. And he'll steal it from everybody, from the prides, from the hyenas, from anyone. Now, let's go across back to Byron. He's managed to find some elephants, and they seem to be quite thirsty.
Look at this, everyone. A beautiful herd of elephant. Remember, while we were driving, we saw those other 2. I said there were definitely tracks of a herd that's come through, and those 2 bulls might have been following. I think that's exactly what's happened here. They are following this herd, and look at that little baby playing in the water. He's tiny, tiny, tiny little baby. Beautiful calf. Oh, this is fantastic. I'm in my element now. These are one of my favorite animals, and it's so great to be able to see them at a waterhole. And they are really enjoying it. It's been a nice warm day. We've had a few cool days, the last 2 or 3. So it's been really warm today. Now enjoying this water and a bit of mud. Look at that. Oh, this is fantastic. Look how tiny that little one is. Just off to, there we go. Look at that. Oh, just so cute. At that age, that little elephant does not know how to use its trunk yet. Probably, you see, trying to drink with its mouth. It can't use its trunk yet, and to pour the water into its mouth, so it will just put its head right down. It will definitely still be suckling from its mom, from that female that's close to it, but it will start to try and learn how to drink water. So Aaron in Florida has asked how we can tell the difference between an elephant cow and a bull. So Aaron, one of the first things you can look at is if you see an elephant like this, if you look up at that forehead, let's see that one, yeah, there we go, VM is just focused on that there. That is a female. So you can see, just hang on, there's a beautiful female getting quite close to us on the right with the baby. Look at that, very close to us. So this female right here in front of us, if you have a look at her head over there, see it's a very sharp, angular shape, and that is typical of females. Males have got a much rounder forehead, and that would be the first thing you could look at. The other thing is have a look where this younger elephant is suckling from. The females have their mammary glands under the front legs. You might just be able to see it over there. Yep. That is also a sign that you could look for. The males obviously do not have that. Wow, this is incredible. Look how she's smelling. There's a buffalo skull, an old buffalo skull down there. That female was just smelling it. I think elephant are incredibly intelligent, and they can probably still just smell or trying to work out what that skull is. Very interesting behavior. See how she's hanging around this carcass. There's a lot of bones here. It's definitely from a buffalo kill. Still just smelling. But they're very close to us now, about 5 meters away, 6 meters. This is very, very special. Quite a few of them still drinking. And those just moving off probably had enough water. And what they'll do is they'll just continue moving around and looking for food, feeding while the rest of these finish up. This is such a beautiful scene. And they're so peaceful, completely happy with us being here. Not fazed with us at all. It's amazing to see how they suck the water up with their trunks and then lower that water into their mouth. Just like that. See, lifting the trunk and drinking. So they don't really blow it out. All that happens is they rely on gravity, and the water then flows out of the trunk into the mouth as they lift it up, and they drink that way. They can take quite a lot of water into their trunks, about 8 to 10 liters. So Robin from Maryland has asked an interesting question about the elephant and what keeps the water from going all the way up through the nasal cavity when it goes up their trunk. So they have got valves and they do control it, and the trunk is made up of so many muscles, so they can control it very well. They won't suck it all the way up right into the nasal cavity, but what they'll do is they'll suck it up, hold it, and then as they release when they are lifting their trunk, they release it and it flows down into their mouth. But there are thousands of muscles within that trunk. It really is an incredible appendage. See these two still drinking intently. It's an incredible sound. Very interesting vocalization came from that elephant. And that could have been for a number of reasons. Maybe it was just a little bit agitated with that adult behind it. It is in a tricky spot there at the moment, struggling to get out. It's amazing how elephants can climb though, and climb up really steep embankments and go down the most incredible places if they have to. Another beautiful female walking towards us. I hope you're all enjoying this as much as I am. Perfect for a Saturday afternoon. See, the herds like this of elephant predominantly consist of the females and a lot of the calves or the youngsters, but mainly females. There will be young males within this herd, but once they get to a certain age, like those first two that we saw earlier, they generally get pushed out of the herd. The reason for that is the females just are a little bit hesitant with having those young bulls. They get a bit boisterous. They cause a bit of unrest within the herd. So they get pushed out, and then what happens is those males will go and try and meet up with big dominant bulls. And those bulls then teach those younger males how to be more successful, how to be dominant, and how to look for females when they are ready to mate. But for now, in a herd like this, it's mainly the youngsters with the adult females, but there will be some young males there too. So Christine has asked a question about the elephant, and Christine would like to know, do elephants use tools? So Christine, no, not that I have ever seen. They rely a lot on the strength of and the power and the capability of that of the trunk. They can pick up tiny, tiny little fruit. Their tusks. They rely a lot on that to tear bark, break branches, or dig up mud or sand. They do use their tusks quite a lot. And also their feet. They will kick loose a lot of trees or branches or roots that they are looking to feed on. They often kick up sand and mud so that they can throw it on their backs. The reason for that is it protects their skin, cools them down, and also keeps a lot of the flies away. In terms of using any other tools around, I've never seen it, and I don't think they do. But as I've listed, they've got a number of other tools that they can use. Our timing was perfect. As we came around the corner, we could see these elephant in the water hole. And look how they've all started to move off. Really fantastic to see these elephants in the water hole, the interaction, the sounds. And while they move off, why don't we cross over to James and get an update from him? Maybe he has something regarding those lions.
All right, just a quick update from us, everybody. I eventually found one lion track coming north over the road, just into this area here. I'm probably going to go off on foot and just see if we can't find them. They may be down in the shade here in the drainage line. But while we do that, I think spend a little bit more time with Byron on Cheetah Plains, and then if I have any success, which I'm hopeful of now, we'll let you know.
Okay, so James is going to go and follow up on that track that he's found. We are still sitting with these elephant, and it's actually such a beautiful sighting. I don't think we're going to leave just yet. There's still at least 3 in the water, or 3 that we can see around the water hole. 1 or 2 feeding off to the side, and the rest of the herd has moved off slowly in a westerly direction from here. But they're in no rush to leave. It looks like these 3 are really enjoying what's left, or the last few sips of water before they decide to move on. Elephant really do love water. I've seen in different areas where the water is more prevalent, and especially up Botswana area where there's a lot of flooding and you've got large rivers, elephants will often go right into these rivers and swim. They play around, especially in the summer when it's very hot. They play, and if they need to cross these deep rivers, they will swim right across them, where you just see the trunks sticking out of the water, breathing for them. It's incredible. So Katie from Kentucky has asked about those valves in the trunk and up closer to the nasal cavity, whether or not sand can clog up the trunks, or do they use those same valves to stop it? They definitely use the same valves. Those trunks are incredible appendages for the elephant. I don't think we really understand the extent of how well they are able to be used. They definitely control everything that goes in and out, and I don't think they get blocked at all. I've never ever seen or heard of an elephant having a blocked trunk. Those valves would control all that sand that they pick up and suck up. Usually what they do, though, is they try and grab it with their trunk. They wrap the sand or the mud around the bottom of their trunk, almost like you would scoop it with your hand, and then they throw it on their backs. They don't necessarily suck up the sand or the mud. But there will definitely still be some dust that can get up into the trunk, but they will then eventually blow it out. Just like you would blow your nose, they will get rid of it so it doesn't get blocked. But it is an incredible appendage, and it's amazing the ability to pick up tiny objects like fruit or little sticks, and the ability to break branches. The strength in that trunk is unbelievable. Quite a nice bit of interaction with these two in front of us, just playing, pushing, rubbing their trunks and see that elephant on the left missing half of its tail there. We saw that this morning with the giraffe. The giraffe is also missing a bit of a tail. That can be from for a number of reasons. I would think that this elephant is possibly missing its tail because it got an infection, maybe from ticks. And often what happens is that infection or those ticks can cause an animal to lose its tail. And with other animals, you might see a tail get bitten off, maybe from lions. I don't think this is from lions. I have seen up in Botswana and Zambia, where I was mentioning when the elephants cross the rivers, where crocodiles go and they try their luck, and they occasionally grab an elephant tail and bite it off. So that is also a cause, but that would not happen in this area. I don't think where we are now, there are some big rivers to the south, and a lot of crocodiles there, but I don't think these elephants spent enough time in those rivers for crocodiles to bite the tails off. I think that is possibly from ticks. There hasn't been too much mud splashing around with these elephant. The reason for that is because it is winter, so it's not too hot. But in summer, when it is very hot, they like to splash water and mud on their backs. Helps keep them cool. And often what they will do then is they'll go find a nice big tree and rub up against it. The reason for that is it scrapes off some of the ticks that might be sitting on them. Just get rid of the fleas that they have, but they've got very thick hides, so they don't have many, not like a lot of the antelope species and that, but the mud does help them. And you'll have these prominent rubbing posts. When they go and they rub right up against it, and it becomes very, very smooth. I'll try and have a look while we are driving if we can find a rubbing post. I might see something up on that big tree just now if we drive past there. I don't want to move just yet. This is still so lovely, and I don't want to disturb these two that are drinking. They've become completely relaxed with us. But the rest of the herd do seem to have moved off. They're spraying the water. So Brock would like to know if elephants ever leave the national parks and cause damage to neighboring farms or neighboring areas. Brock, in certain areas it can occur. I mean, we are very far away from any, I suppose, any settlement at the moment, but on the outskirts of the Greater Kruger National Park, yes, there are settlements and farms, and if the elephant do get out, they try their best to get them back as quickly as possible if they can, but they can cause damage. In other parts of Africa, elephant can be a problem for farmers. They destroy the produce and the lands that the farmers have. So it does happen. But again, we need to remember, these animals were here first. We are taking over their land and their habitat. So we cannot complain. It's part of living close to nature. One just seems to be smelling it over there. So Helen has asked, what is an elephant's favorite food? So Helen, to keep these large animals going, they need to feed on a lot of vegetation. They are not too fussy. They will eat everything from grass to branches to leaves, bark of trees, roots and fruit. I must admit though, I think in summer, when these beautiful marula trees that we have in the area, when they give fruit or bear fruit, the elephant absolutely love that fruit. Very rich in vitamin C, but the flavor is very nice, and we can eat it too. And elephant will go and stand under marula trees. I've seen them rock a tree to shake some of the fruit out of the tree. It's incredible to watch. They lift their trunk up and they place the bottom of their trunk or their mouth up against the tree, and they rock it once or twice, and that often shakes some of the fruit loose, and they will pick them up with their trunks and feed on it. You can find piles of elephant dung full of marula fruit. It's incredible to see. So I would say that's probably their favorite. So peaceful here at the moment. Few birds calling. I've heard a red-crested koran that's been calling quite a while. It's got a very interesting whistling sound in the area. I can't see it. It's a ground nesting bird and it's very difficult to spot, very well camouflaged. It sounds like a... If I hear it again, I'll try to point it out. I think it might be loud enough for you. Oh, this one's coming back to the water. So Nora has asked, do elephants hold their breath while they are drinking water? Or can they breathe through their mouth? They can definitely breathe through their mouth, Nora. So they don't have to hold their breath. They will just purely suck up the water. See, this elephant is very clever. Have a look there. So certain water holes in winter are pumped full of water. And the reason for that is it does get dry, and because of all the wildlife around, they do have to be managed. And that little pipe over there is pumping fresh water. When the water level drops, that pump will come on every now and then. It's probably solar powered. And that elephant knows exactly that. That is fresh borehole water. That's why it's sticking its trunk over there. But Nora, they will definitely not hold their breath. They will still breathe, but they will use their trunk just to suck up the water. And then as they are lowering it, just like we drink, then you obviously don't breathe, but they will then drink the water. Look at that, very interesting. Just incredible again. Look how that trunk works. Let's see if he puts it in his mouth. There we go. A little bit. I could sit here for hours watching these elephants. As I mentioned earlier, just one of my favorite animals. I think they're so intelligent, and they can be peaceful and graceful and very caring animals to one another. I've often seen footage, and I've seen it myself, how they help the youngsters either get food or get out of water holes. You'll be surprised that a young elephant can often get stuck in a muddy wallow like this, and the adults will come and just give it a helping trunk and get out of the water. They are amazing animals. And then again, just their strength and power. I've seen an elephant push over a tree like it was nothing, a very large tree, a number of times. The reason they do that is purely to get to the leaves and the branches that are higher up if they can't reach it. It's an example of that elephant just blowing its trunk, and you saw the power of that air and the dust that was blown up from it. See, so it's very easy for them to keep the trunk clear. Have a look. See how that elephant's resting? Oh, it's picked up a little stick. Oh. Wow, look at this. Very interesting behavior. See that trunk? It's got almost two muscles that act as a clamp, I suppose you could call it. And with that, it's able to pick up something as small as that little branch, or leaves, or branches. Incredible prehensile muscle, that trunk. That whole trunk is basically one big muscle made up of many, many muscles. So Jenny from Texas has asked if once the grass becomes more scarce further into winter, will the animals move off? And yes, Jenny, they do. In certain times of year, when the vegetation decreases because of drought, animals do, we don't get migrations like you see in East Africa, but you will have seasonal movements within certain areas. They will try and go into areas where there might be better vegetation for them to feed on. So in an area like this where there's very little grass, you probably won't see too many zebra or wildebeest that specifically feed on the grass. They'll go and move into other areas, maybe clearings where there is grass for them to feed on. So you do get seasonal movements, but it won't be as large as a migration like you have in East Africa, where they travel hundreds of kilometers to go into an area where there is food. We don't have that in Southern Africa. So the elephant seemed to have all moved off now. I think we are going to continue, and while we do that, why don't you go back to James and get an update from him and those lion tracks.
Now, I've done an extensive walk through this area, well, relatively extensive anyway, and yeah, I don't know. I don't have any more tracks. I don't know where they've gone. There were some vehicle tracks coming in here, so maybe the very last people to view these lions came in here this morning. But I've had a walk through here. I haven't seen anything. We're going to do one last, we're just going to stick our noses in here along this old track. And if there's nothing here, you see there's some quite fresh vehicle tracks through here, so maybe she moved in here during the course of the day. But, you know, if she is the mother, and I've no reason to doubt she isn't, I've no reason to doubt that she is the mother, she could well have just headed straight back towards Torchwood. Because that's obviously what she needs to do. She needs to suckle her babies. So maybe it was just a brief hunting foray away. One or two more vehicle tracks through here. We'll just follow them through and then head out and see what else this marvelous wilderness has to offer us. Yeah. I think we's flogging a dead horse here. So let's ease our way back out again and see what else we can see. Very nice that you've had the elephants there, Torchwood, at least at Cheetah Plains. Marvellous animals, elephants, of course. And especially when it's a little bit dry, they spend so much time drinking water and going down to water and then fighting with each other and playing. It's just great. This magnificent tree that we're driving underneath, of course, is called a torchwood. Can you reach a leaf there, Davy? Sure. There we go. Now, the torchwood leaf is quite leathery. It's not particularly tasty. And indeed, the fruit's oil, which is supposed to be flammable, but I've embarrassed myself on many occasions trying to light it for viewers and guests alike. I don't know, it seems to be inflammable when I try and light it, but it can be used to kill fish. And what the poison does is get into the gills of the fish and drops them dead, and apparently it doesn't taint the meat at all. So if you're ever desperate out here without a fish hook and really in need of something to eat and you're unable to get into the water to catch a catfish, that's your stuff. Torchwood seeds, crushed up, unburnt. I can see the lion track now. They're in here. Let's follow them. Now, Kevin in the Nederlands, you want to know what the most common bird we get out here is. Kevin, the most abundant bird that occurs in possibly here and in the world. Oh, colourful bird. Well, the most colourful bird we get out here is probably then the lilac-breasted roller. And the lilac-breasted roller is got 7 colours on it, male and female lilac-breasted roller. They, certainly at this time of the year, are by far the most colourful birds. At other times of the year, they are probably, the most colourful birds are probably the sunbirds. Well, in fact, I mean, they're around now as well, but you just don't see them very much because there are not many flowers for them to eat. Now, the tracks come through here. I'm in many minds as to what to do now. I mean, we're on the tracks. Well, let's have a listen and see if we can't hear some birds alarm calling. While we do that, Kevin, I'll show you a picture of these colourful birds, the sunbirds. Oh, you know what? The most colourful in summer are the bee-eaters, I would say. So, if we go across to the sunbirds, there they are. And we get, the most colourful one we get here is called the collared sunbird. There. There. Isn't that beautiful? Stunning. Ooh, hang on. I'm getting an update in my ear about Karula. Oh, there's a kill. Let's go there. This is wonderful news, everybody. Okay, let's go back to Byron. I'm going to try and figure out what's going on here. Karula apparently not far from here. So let's go back to Byron, get an update from him. I'll keep up with you now.
That's exciting news that James has about Karula. Hopefully he has some luck there. Looks like the lions are evading him this afternoon. We're still just exploring Cheetah Plains. I have absolutely no idea where we are, so it's very fun. But I don't think we have gone off the beaten track too far. So I'm trying to look for some of the plains that they have in this area. And that'll be nice, I think, for some general game, which could be very interesting. Again, it's just so great to be able to drive through this area. Beautiful afternoon. So Aaron from New Zealand has asked, are there any areas outside of Africa that I'd like to visit to view wildlife? Definitely. Aaron, I think one thing I would really like to do, which is on my bucket list, is to go and look for snow leopards. up in Afghanistan. In the mountains, you get snow leopards. I'd love to be able to see snow leopards. What else? I mean, polar bears and wildlife in the Antarctic. That would be wonderful. Something different. There's so much. Madagascar, South America, the Pantanal, jaguars. Oh, there's so many different places to go to. A beautiful area here. That a beautiful clearing. Let's see what we have. Nice water hole. Let's see, there's a lot of buffalo dung around. Let me just stop and scan here a little bit. But look how beautiful and open this clearing is. Never know, you could find something laying in the shade of the trees just on the edge of these clearings. I've often found predators, during the day, especially in the morning. As it starts to warm up, they could possibly come and drink and then move off and look for a bit of shade. At the moment, I do not see anything, however. It seems very quiet here at the moment. But as I always say, it's too soon to panic. Let's continue. But it's nice to be able to be getting into these openings and these clearings. Generally, wildlife do enjoy this a lot. It's a bit safer for them, and the reason for that is just it's easier to spot any potential danger or predator that could be coming towards them. But during the day, even the antelope species and that will start moving off into the thickets and feeding, looking for a bit of shade. But in the evenings, I'm sure later this afternoon, early evening, I think you'll probably get quite a few animals coming out into these clearings and spend the night out here. It's far safer in the openings. This is interesting. Have a look at this tree in front of us. And unfortunately it is dead. Now this is an acacia tree, a knobthorn. But what has happened here, and if you look a little bit lower, look how pale that bark is. And the reason for that is elephant have ring barked this tree, which means they have stripped the bark right around the tree. What that causes is the tree, as you can see, to die. The reason for that is the bark contains a cambium layer, which is a layer which transports all the nutrients from the leaves to the tree and from the roots to the tree, back and forth. So with the elephant stripping the bark, and the reason they do that is to feed on it, because it's got all the nutrients, and there's nothing to transfer those nutrients up and down the tree anymore. So that causes the tree to die. And how they do it, and we spoke about it earlier, is they use those tusks. They're able to push a tusk into the side of the bark, and they pull it and they rip it open, and then they'll use their trunks and they'll strip it. And there's a tree like this, and you can actually see it up just to the top of the tree. You can see you have these strips of bark, and it's very easy for the elephant to strip the bark. There we go, see it hanging over there. And they pull these long strips of bark up the tree, and that's what causes it to move all the way up the tree, up to the top there before it breaks off, and then they feed on it. So Don has asked an interesting question about when the elephant push over trees, and Don would like to know is, if those elephant push the trees over, do those trees continue to grow or do they die? So Don, what happens often is, if the trees are pushed over but the root system is still intact and the tree hasn't broken completely, the tree is still able to grow. if the tree is pushed over and the root system is uprooted and broken, then that tree would not be able to grow anymore and inevitably dies. But either way, what happens is you do get a micro habitat forming. So you get a lot of other animals, scrub hares, little duikers, steenbok, often go and use those pushed over trees as shelters or as homes. And you get a lot of insects and birds nesting in there. So it's not always a bad thing. It does create another habitat for some of the smaller animals. See a few zebra tracks around here, and we are approaching another clearing. Oh, those are beautiful clearings up ahead. Let's see, I'm sure we'll get some activity around there. Let's just keep scanning. Which way? Let's ask the viewers, should we go left or right? Who can give me an idea? Which way should we go? I have no idea. While I'm waiting for a left or right suggestion, I'm just scanning and seeing if I can't see anything. Oh, hang on. I've spotted a zebra. We are going right, everyone. While we're driving, I'm still just scanning back and forth, seeing if there's anything out on the other side of the clearing. I did see a zebra. So Lynn from Florida has asked what my favorite time of day is to do a game drive. Is it in the morning or is it in the afternoon? It's very difficult to answer, Lynn. I like both. There we go. Yeah, the zebra approaching just off to the left. And Lynn, I think, let's see. Oh, I've seen two cheetah. Can you see the cheetah, everyone? Have a look there. Fantastic. They are heading in this direction. If we're lucky, they might cross over onto our side. That we are just on the boundary at the moment, and just south of us is an area known as Mala Mala. But those cheetah are heading here. Let's sit tight. Wow, this is exciting. I'm just trying to watch. Let's just see, they're slowly moving in this direction. We'll wait and sit tight. So, Lynn, getting back to your question, morning or afternoon, it's hard to say. I mean, we had such a beautiful morning, and especially in winter, it warms up nicely, and it's a fantastic time of the day. But the afternoon's also great, and the sunsets are beautiful. I don't know. It's hard to say. Right now, with cheetah approaching, I'd have to say the afternoon. I see two cheetah there, moving through the thicket. They should break through that little scrub that they're in at the moment shortly, but there you can see them quite nicely. Wow, I haven't seen cheetah in the Sabi Sands for quite some time. I know these plains and these clearings are ideal for cheetah. And I'm not sure when last on Safari Live you saw cheetah. So this is fantastic. Like I say, they are heading straight towards us. So we are just going to sit tight here for a while. Hopefully we'll get a lovely view of them as they cross over. While they're walking, they'll most likely try and scent mark. Often what cheetah do is they find prominent trees, and that's what that one is doing there. Can you just see it's lifted its tail, scent marking? And the reason for that is this is obviously their territory, and while they're moving around, they constantly scent mark. I'm assuming these are two males. It does look like it. I'm just going to move up a little further forward while we wait for them. We might get a better view. They will also use these pushed over trees as a vantage point to have a look around and scan the clearings. And the reason for that is it just gives them a nice area, a nice little bit of a raised platform that they may scan and look around. So often cheetah, they don't climb as well as lion or leopard, especially not leopard, but they do jump into trees, and they will mainly, like I said, jump into trees. It's mainly trees that have been pushed over. They're a bit easier for them to climb into, and they'll stand on that and scan. And from that vantage point, they can have a look if there's any prey. Let's see, I don't see them now. Just trying to scan again. So I understand that everybody is as excited as I am about cheetah, because these are my first cheetahs for Safari Live. I know you have seen them a few times, and this is amazing. I'm very excited because I don't know this coalition. Like I say, I'm assuming it is a male coalition from what I've seen already. I think they are. So we'll hopefully get them coming out. Don't see them at the moment, but I'm still scanning. But this is incredible. As I said, it's too soon to panic. You never know what you're going to bump into, and look at that. Two cheetah walking towards us. Let me just scan again quickly. Yeah, there, I see them. Yeah, VM has got them. That's great. They're moving further into the open, but still in our direction. Andrew or Mike, any station on this channel, do you copy me? Good afternoon, it's Byron here. Located the two male cheetah, the coalition. They are on the plains. I think we're east of Hornbill Nest Road, and they are heading north. There are 3 M vehicles here at the moment, but they are heading north. I'm just going to turn around quickly, everyone. This is very exciting. These cheetah are heading straight towards us. So Safari Dude has asked, are these cheetah heading towards the zebra? No, I don't think they are. A zebra is far too large for a cheetah to hunt. And I think the zebra would have got a fright because it's still a predator. And natural instinct will kick in, and the zebra will probably just move off, which is, I think, what happened there. But these cheetah will not be trying to hunt those zebra at all. They may go for a zebra foal, but it's unlikely and doesn't happen often. But if there's a zebra foal around, they could probably show some interest and try and hunt that. But in this situation, not at all. So while we're waiting for these cheetah to cross and trying to get into a better position, go across to James, get an update from him and see what he's up to.
Now, everybody, there's an elephant, and I must just congratulate you all, along with Beefy Byron, the buffalo hunter, for finding those cheetah. I think that's just too wonderful for words. His first trip down there, he's going to never want to leave. Now, we're sitting here in the Mulwati drainage line, the great raging torrent of water that flows through. There's an elephant there. We didn't come down here because of an elephant. We came here because we heard reports of Karula from here from this morning. Now, the reports that she had killed were incorrect. She has not killed, apparently. Well, she hadn't by this morning, and she was right over here. Now, I'm going to wait for this young bull to see what he does. I'm not sure. I don't think he'll sort of do us any damage, but he may come quite close, and let's see. We might be lucky there. But he's about to go past where the little drainage line that feeds, this tributary of the Great Mulwati, feeds in here, and that's where Karula was. He might find her for us, you know. I think this might be a photo opportunity, David. He certainly is coming quite close. Now, were he a great big 45-year-old elephant bull, I would be possibly in reverse already. He isn't. And so he's unlikely to do us too much harm, we hope. Like, he's too close for me to focus. This is fantastic, people. He's so close to us. What a beautiful fellow he is. Oh, this is wonderful. Don't fall. Don't slip. That's it. You're going to slip. Do you want me to move back, fellow? I can if you want. This is fantastic. See, he's trying to get past us, but he doesn't want to slip now. And I don't want to really start the car because that's going to give him a fright. He's stepping over that bush. I'm not laughing at you, I'm sorry. You're being very, very kind to go around us like that. Thank you. That is too wonderful. That's very loud. It is quite scary, I'm not going to lie, everybody. My heart rate is up. Dave, how are you feeling? Yep. Now he's throwing bushes at us. He's very cross that we made him step over that gardenia, which he probably pushed over. This is too fantastic. Now, like I say, I wouldn't be doing this with a with a 45-year-old elephant bull with great big tusks. He's about a 20-year-old, maybe 22 or 23. And he's just not quite confident enough to kind of say to us, get out of my way or you're going to be in trouble. That is just brilliant. Isn't that wonderful? Oh, what a very, very special sighting that was. Let's head back to the cheetah and Byron. We'll continue looking for the leopard over here.
That's a close call for James and that elephant. That is exciting. These cheetah have come right out into the open and are heading straight towards us. Look again, some scent marking. What a beautiful, beautiful sighting. They're out in the open. Ended it. He said, you never know what you're going to see. And look at this. Just absolutely perfect. Wonderful light. So those of you who are photographers, if you would like to ask any questions about camera work, please don't hesitate. I'm going to take one or two snaps of these cheetah. Oh, Just wonderful to see them moving across the clearing. This is typical cheetah terrain. Perfect for them to hunt if they do see anything. I was hoping they would head into that direction of the water holes that we passed. So Michael, who's aged 13, has asked an interesting question about the cheetah. We know that the cheetah is the fastest land mammal, and they can reach a speed of up to about 110, 120 kilometers an hour. Now Michael has asked, what is the stride length if a cheetah is in full, or is at full pace, full speed? That is difficult. I'm trying to think now. Full stride length of a cheetah. I think it's close to around 4 or 5 meters, a stride length when they're at 110 kilometers an hour. Very easily. You can see their whole body contorts when they are running. Their back, their spine is very, very, what's the word? Bendy. It's supple. Their back is very supple, and that spine can bend very, very easily, and they can stretch. And what they do is the whole body opens and stretches as they stride, and they reach those top speeds. Cheetah's found a little bit of shade there, just lying down. See, they're still very, very clever, even though they move around more during the day than any other predator, more than leopard and lion, definitely. Cheetah do prefer hunting in the afternoon or early morning, especially the morning or late morning, and are more active during the day. They are not as active at night, and probably wouldn't hunt as much as at night. It does depend on the area, though, but they are still clever. They will still find shade, and they will still rest during the day. Isn't that beautiful? So Pamela has asked a question regarding the scent marking of the big cats. Now, Pamela would like to know, would big cats scent mark over each other? Now that is quite interesting, Pamela. I've seen big cats pick up on the scent of other big cats, lion, leopard, cheetah. Often they may use a similar tree, and the reason for that is because it's a prominent post. It is something that is passed through regularly by these animals in an area that they know very well, in their territory. I don't think it's a case of them scent marking over the other one. The scent marking is purely to allow other predators of the same species that this is their territory. So other lions or other leopard or other cheetah. It's not a case of lions scent marking over cheetah because they want to chase the cheetah out, but they do definitely pick up on the scent of those other animals in the area. The scent marking is purely territorial for each species. Excuse me a second. It's interesting that the one cheetah has decided to lie in the shade and the other one out in the open. Michael or Lex, come back for Byron. Wrong radio. Michael or Lex, come back for Byron. Mike or Lex, do you copy? Mike, sorry about that. Just an update. Still 3 double M vehicles here. They are still just south of the boundary. We are standing by. I'll let you know as soon as they cross. Copy, will do. So, is it another interesting thing is the multitasking that I spoke to you about. The me trying to work all the radios. So we're quite far from the FC at the moment, so I'm struggling to hear some of the questions coming through from Lou. But I think Lou has just asked a question about how often the cheetah need to drink. From Maggie in Australia. And Maggie, the cheetah, like most big cats, generally they will try and drink each day. You know, if the water is available and is around, they will definitely drink each day. But in some situations, if they are unable to, then maybe every second day, but they will still try to get to water. The thing with the predators is they do get a lot of moisture from their kills if they are able to still hunt. And if they are able to kill an impala, for example, they do get a lot of moisture from that, but they do still need water occasionally. As I said, it depends on the time of the year. In summer, when there's lots of rainfall, lots of water around, they will definitely go and drink daily. Go ahead. Okay, copy that. So Brock has asked a question about the cheetah and their hunting style. Brock would like to know, do the cheetah hunt in a group or do they hunt solitary? So generally cheetah are solitary cats, not like lions who will hunt in a pride. However, you do get, and what we can see here, a coalition of males. So 1, 2, 3, or sometimes 4 males together that form a coalition, and often because they're born into the same litter, and they will then stay together. The females generally stick to themselves and stay solitary, so they will definitely have to hunt for themselves. With the males, I don't think it's cooperative hunting like lions, but the cheetah will chase something together, and if one manages to separate an impala, for example, if they were chasing impala, separate an impala from the herd and pull it down, the other one probably wouldn't be too far behind to help either kill it or just start feeding on it very quickly. So they don't necessarily, I've never seen them chase an antelope or anything into one another. So one will wait in ambush and another one will chase something towards it. But that's not to say that it could never happen. You know, one thing I've learned with being in the bush is that you can never guarantee anything. Animals adapt and they they always change their behavior depending on where they are in their surroundings and what works for them. But these situations with these cheetah in this area and from these Sabi Sands, Greater Kruger that I've seen in the past, cheetah will hunt solitary by themselves. But if they are in a coalition, then the other one will definitely come and feed with the one who made the kill. But remember, with the females, they are solitary, so they do have to hunt for themselves. So Sharon from Tennessee has just asked if these two cheetah are related. Yes, Sharon, they most likely are. And the reason I say that is it's quite unlikely that two males from a different area will form a coalition. I have heard of it happening, and it can happen with lions. Lion coalitions, they can have males forming coalitions that are from different prides. In this situation, I think these two cheetah are most likely brothers. And that is generally the case. If one of them die, the other one will just continue on living. It will not go and look for another cheetah and join, especially not at this age. I think it is highly unlikely. But again, it's never a guarantee. That is just what we have seen, what we have read, research that has been done. I don't think they would, but you never know. They could possibly, but I don't think the one would actively go and look for another male to join and form a coalition. Generally with cheetah, they are brothers or related.